there, I am Bernadette Waugh, your child and youth worker and NLP from the YouTube channel Learn Along. Today we're going to be discussing the 21 characteristics known to determine if someone would have auditory processing disorder difficulties. And yes, I have to make note. Though this is a self-diagnosis, a self-evaluation, this is not meant to take the position of your own personalized neuro, physician, audiologist, and or speech language pathologist. So let's begin. Number 1, environment. When it comes to the checklist characteristics evident with this deficit. Number 2, sequence. Number 3, directions. Number 4, repeating. Number 5, retention. So we're going to take each one of these and we're going to go into further detail. Number 1, environment. Tunes out noisy environments and may even be viewed as a daydreamer. Auditory attention. You may have difficulty in selecting which sounds are relevant from that are irrelevant from the conversation at hand. Loud music or even a level that others consider a low volume is enough to add confusion. And it is why you won't hear music in the background of these learning videos that I put here on the channel. Because I don't know about you, but I find it highly distracting even when the music is at a very low level. And if you agree with me, put a comment in the chat. Number 2, sequence. At times when you're listening, you may process information that is being heard inaccurately and often out of proper context. You may have trouble understanding, analyzing, and processing sound information that is heard. It is at these times you may get highly frustrated. You may get impulsive, mood swings. You may get up and leave the area and do something else. Number 3, directions. Unable to follow oral directions, especially those directions that are said quickly. Instructions that are too long-winded and complicated, oh my, is all I can say. Best to have a notepad and pen on hand because by taking notes it actually does help. Memory may also serve as an issue here as well. Heaven forbid if there are fast talkers. Words get skipped over and it's even easier to misinterpret the message at hand. Anyone else have issues with fast talkers? Number 4, repeating. Ask frequently for conversations to be repeated. You may frequently hear them say, "Huh? What? What'd you say?" Sometimes you become so used to not fully comprehending immediately what is being said that you begin to automatically respond with, "What did you say?" This is usually done because by the time it takes for the person to respond back, it will give you enough time to register what has been said. I was famous for this for years when I was a teenager, and it came to the point where even one time, this guy that I liked, I would always say, "What?" And he'd be like, "You heard me. You heard what I said." And I did, but I just found that I needed that little bit of extra time to process, and then come up with a response. Number 5, retention. Has great difficulty retaining material that is presented orally. Isn't this kitten the cutest? Oh my gosh, adorable. Any cues that can help the mind of the person with APD, CAPD, which is auditory processing disorder or central auditory processing disorder, will add to sending information from the frontal lobe to the long-term memory of the brain. When the deficit is with auditory, it makes it extremely difficult to retain and retrieve oral information. Number 6, patterns. Number 7, meaning. Number 8, delay. Number 9, discriminate. Number 10, unsure. So let's go into this further, shall we? Number 6, patterns. You may have difficulty learning sound and sound patterns. Auditory visual integration. You may use a reserve of previously learned sounds to form words that are used in auditory memory. You may draw upon this memory to understand a picture or a familiar printed word. It is a form of repetition from what they have memorized without possibly knowing the printed word before them. And you will see a lot of kids, even in junior kindergarten and kindergarten, they'll take those little storybooks and they're basically, a lot of them are memorizing the words based on the pictures. Those with auditory processing disorder tend to do the same even into adulthood. Number 7, meaning. You are unable to remember long words or sounds of words to make meaning of them. And I apologize for anyone that don't like teddy bear hamsters, but I absolutely adore them, and I know many people that do. So there's going to be half of you that's going to love what you see on the screen here, and the other half are going to be like, oh no, what did she do? Put a rat. It's a teddy bear hamster, people. It takes almost 10 seconds for the brain of someone with auditory processing difficulties to register what is being said. As you are still processing on the previous words or long word, the conversation has jumped ahead and you are tripping over words that you haven't had a chance to register. Number 8, delay. You may have a delay in language development, vocabulary, or in articulation of clear and distinct sounds in speech. Just the same as those with hearing issues that may have a hard time distinctly creating clear sounds when speaking, so to someone with APD or CAPD may be delayed in vocabulary and articulation development. One sound may be replaced for a different sound as a speech sound error. This results in you substituting, omitting, distorting, and or adding to words. So an example, correctly pronouncing the words spaghetti, hydrogen, indigenous. See? Indigenous. Oh boy. Okay, so am I going to record over this little incident? No, maybe I should leave it in. But I will say, when it came to the word spaghetti and hydrogen, it took me years I'm serious. Like, I have memories of my mom and dad spending time with me trying to pronounce spaghetti and hydrogen. All right. See if you guys can pronounce indigenous, and see if you do a better job than me. Number 9, discriminate. You may have a hard time discriminating between similar sounding words. Yes, learning the English language has been known to be one of the difficult ones. There are so many rules and guidelines to go by, and it certainly doesn't help with this deficit. An example of this inability to discriminate can be seen in the following words: read, read, shot, shoot, daze, doze. So that's just a few examples. I do offer many lessons. I have 5 levels of 10 to 16 lessons per level that I do offer, and we do go into great comprehension and understanding when it comes to phonemes before even going on to phonics. So if you'd like to avail to these lessons, please do reach out. Number 10, unsure. You may look to see what everyone is doing or saying when in a place when directions are unclear to you. When there is confusion, you may be unsure of yourself and unable to trust your instincts or own capabilities. It is at these times you may imitate others, while there are some who just may give up. Also, there might be memory issues. You may have forgotten what was said or what you were supposed to do when it was just given to you like 60 seconds ago, sometimes even 30 seconds ago. And you were like, what was said? And then you just look to others to see what they're doing and saying. Number 11, experiential activities. Number 12, response. Number 13, lack of vision. Number 14, simplification. Number 15, dissociation. Number 11, experiential activities. When it comes to listening or speaking, you would prefer the visual or experiential activities. You would be considered the visual learner or the hands-on learner, but don't ever let this deficit limit you. You may very well be missing out on your passion and someday living within your element. Number 12, response. You may not respond as quickly as do others when it comes to sounds. For that reason, you may not also enjoy loud, fast-paced, high-pitched music when trying to concentrate. You may have to press the rewind button several times on a video to catch all of what is being said. You may prefer texting to taking phone calls. Lack of vision. You may not be able to explain verbally or in written form what you believe you can achieve. I would even consider this as deficits in social development due to a low self-esteem that may arise. You may feel awkward, feeling like you don't fit in as you're not quick in responses like the others. You may have difficulty in your motor skills and coordination, thus limiting you in such sports as basketball due to coordination needed for dribbling the ball. You may turn inward or constantly be struggling to be part of a group. You feel most comfortable around just 1 to 2 close friends. You may also struggle with picking up on different forms of humor and sarcasm as well. Number 14, simplification. Simplified responses are created in written form that are not an accurate indication of your skill level or knowledge. APD, CAPD affects an upwards of 7% of school children. There are many children with APD, CAPD who have super IQs, but who are not fully able to communicate the level of education, skills, and talents they possess. You may be limited in communicating with your level of learned vocabulary. Number 15, dissociation. You may produce responses and answers that are disassociated away from the topic at hand. I once did a theology course at a university where during the exam we had a choice of 3 questions. I answered the question which, we were told, had to be about 8 pages in length. I got graded and I got my mark back, and it wasn't good. I think it was 50% or something. The professor's comments, a great answer to a question that wasn't asked. And yet I got 50%, so I guess the content in those 8 pages were worth 50% somehow. That was the story of my life from grade 1. I recall always getting confused by what they were asking me and even feeling like the teachers were trying to trip up the class with trick questions. I couldn't comprehend until college what they were trying to ask of me. Anyone experience the same? And okay, this is not a trick question. Number 16, dictation. 17, oral quizzes. 18, oral dictation. 19, focus. 20, separation. And 21, repeating. Number 16, dictation. You may experience difficulty with translating and preparing dictated notes. While there is always a level of difficulty with anyone dictating notes, either from written form or a recording, there is, however, an added difficulty with this deficit in creating a structured document. There have been many who have gone on to be successful, as this can be a learned skill. Number 17, oral quizzes. There is a level of difficulty with being evaluated through short oral quizzes. What exactly does that mean? These quizzes are filled with questions that require less time to concentrate. You are unable to take your time to answer the questions, as they usually require quick responses. And I'm going to let you in on a little story as an example here. I was once doing my income tax when I only was given 5 minutes to answer about 40 of their oral questions from H&R Block. So we were at the counter inside the office and they said, okay, even though you have an appointment, we don't do appointments, so the most we can give you right now is 5 minutes. And I had 2 years of income tax to do. So halfway through, I couldn't even remember the birth dates of my kids and what birth date belonged to what child. It was bad, okay? It was so absolutely embarrassing. It was a good thing my husband was there alongside of me, who had adopted my kids when they were 7 years old and could accurately answer all the questions. What a mom, right? Number 18, oral dictation. You may have difficulty making notes from what the teacher has said. Not only do you have to do your own processing translation within your own mind before writing the teacher's conversation on paper, but you also have to deal with all the distractions in class as well. The classroom can be a very noisy environment with busy students clamoring through book bags, lockers, tapping their pen off of their desk. Isn't that annoying, right? Shaking their legs with the rustle of their clothing and sending vibrations through and to the floor. Then we have the chalk writing on the board, maybe an irritating high-pitched voice from the teacher while talking way too fast. Students shifting their desks around, rattling papers, while you hear the crackling of chip bags and open mouth chomping with the smacking of gum, with the talking back and forth from other students. All of this happening while you're doing your best to process the lesson at hand. And don't get me started if the teacher gets the class to do some reading instead. So, does this sound familiar? Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. Number 19, focus. You may have difficulty sorting out background noises. Those with this deficit find that they have trouble separating background noises within small closed areas, such as a lunchroom at school or work. Each conversation in the room can appear to have the same volume, making it extremely difficult to concentrate. They have a hard time fully understanding messages in noisy environments. This constant processing can cause you to get tired or bored quickly, while even complaining about how noisy it is. Sitting in front of the class can help lessen the distraction and the mind getting so rattled and confused. So basically, you may have someone in front of you having a conversation. You have someone on the side of you having a conversation, someone behind you, someone probably on the other side of you, and you are finding it difficult to pick out the conversation that is in front of you because the volume just seems the same intensity all around you. Number 20, separation. You may also have difficulty focusing on one sound amongst many. Isn't this dog playing dead the cutest? With auditory acuity, you have been known to pick up on lower and high frequencies, including low pressure zones. I had worked with the severe autism and would be able to tell my fellow workers what days we were going to experience episodes, I mean like major episodes, from those that we cared for. At first they thought I didn't know what I was talking about, as many had taken care of the same clients for 10 plus years, some of them like 17, 20 years. They discovered there was some truth in what I'd like to think as an ability of having auditory processing disorder. All auditory abilities integrate and influence one another. Lip reading becomes an asset. Though there are videos and sites out there that are doing their best to accommodate text to speech, when it comes to automated, computerized voices, they can add to the confusion and distraction. But hats off for trying. So, do they confuse anyone else out there as well? And finally, we are on to number 21. Number 21, repeating. You may have difficulty in answering oral questions and repeating sentences. As answering oral questions have been covered here in this video, we'll discuss the deficits in repetition. For those with more severe difficulties, there are difficulties in planning out the steps involved in completing assignments, let's say. They may have issues with time slots and deadlines. You may hate following routines, as the trouble may also be with your long-term memory. So, psychological and orthophonic assessments can be beneficial. It is not enough to have a diagnosis by an audiologist who's only going to check for the hearing part. One must consult a psychology professional to recognize learning disabilities. So there is an online hearing test. You can click a key on your keyboard when you hear a sound and then get the results. So I'll include that link in the description so you don't have to try and copy it out here. As your child and youth care worker and neurolinguistic programmer, I am here to offer you an auditory processing program that involves going at your own personalized level. And it's a fun and interactive lesson plan from level 1 up to level 5, which is pretty advanced. I have included the link in the description with a contact email. So I will say that this is for individuals with auditory processing disorder because at times you need the basics of the phonemes before you can go on to phonics. And this is more than just phonics. This is dealing with the difficulties that you experience yourself when it comes to reading and spelling, writing, mathematics as well. And also for those who are interested in improving on their English, if English is a second language for you, this will also be beneficial. So reach out to me. Again, the link is in the description with a contact email. And I want to thank you so much for listening here today, and leave a comment in the description. Oh, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell, because with YouTube's algorithm, it's my way of reaching others who also can be helped through these videos as well. And press like on the video if you found this video of value today. All right, thank you. Many blessings. Have a super fantastic day. Bye for now.